Truth be told, when I wonder what the future holds, it takes me out of the present. New moon waxing, full moon waning, crescent. Life cycles, teammates or rivals. Soul search later as World War III, the goal's always survival. That's nature, day you're born when you meet your maker. Tears start chasing paper, burning trees or melting glaciers. But truth be told, when I wonder what the future holds, it's impossible to process, so I stay focused on my progress.
Yes, people, back again for another episode of the Triple Captains podcast. Boy, I'll be honest, I'm glad the international break is here. I need to get away. You know, international hots is always gone when there's an international break, or at least I try to. Not a good game week, but hey, again, I'm sitting in the middle, so at least I get the bragging rights amongst the captains. I usually would say, if you're new to the show, you know, whoever gets the most points out of the captains gets to host and sit in the middle of the screen. Again, I'm here, so it's me. That puts the scores 7-2-1, Guffs being on 1. I made a statement last week. My statement was to Guffs, and I said to him, man, you're 9 L's, and I'm trying to get to double figures, but it seems like you're going to get to double figures before me. And he did. He's now on 10 losses from 11 games. 10 losses. Now, don't get jealous because you haven't been anywhere near hosting in a while. It's cool.
I'm just letting
the
fans know, you know.
Fans know enough. Fans know that if you don't host next week,
do you want to host?
You're on 10.
No, you host, bro. You host.
We've got enough comedy with you or your position in the league. So let's just focus on next week you hosting. Because if you're not hosting and one of us is hosting, then that's 10 L's in 11 game weeks. Just understand that. So focus on your future. You get me? This is the same man at the start of the season, if you were paying attention if you've been following us from the very beginning, who was talking the hardest. But I'll let him speak for himself and see what he's got to say for himself. I'll confirm now, it was a poor week from all of us. And, you know, I just scraped it, but the league doesn't lie, it is what it is. I think it's a true reflection because the positions we are in the league, even if they're not great, I am highest out of us 3 with Arc second and Guffs bottom. So it's what's reflecting in the league. So the league don't lie. But anyway, 10 losses. Tell us about your week, bro.
Okay. Do you know what? It's been a rotten run, a real bad run. But this particular game week was the worst for me. It was absolute trash. And the only way is up and up. I mean, that's all I can really say, really. There's not much more I can say. Nothing went well for me. Teams in a bit of disarray, really. The only silver lining is that it's still fairly early in the season, but we are at that point where, you know, the corner has to be turned now. You know.
You choking up over there?
Had a bit of food in my throat. Apologies, but yeah. What's it to say? It is what it is, isn't it? You know, like it was a poor week and back to the drawing board.
You got Vicks under your nose or something? Who are these intakes? What's going on?
I don't know why you're gritting teeth like you're on 10 wins, bro.
Like, I've got teeth in it. That's why.
Yeah, bro. One more win, I'm on level with you. So I mean, you know, just go down a little
not
bit.
quite, but
all
right. So, how are you feeling, Ark? You seem a bit low. on camera and maybe in real life? What's going on? Why so low? Or was it the chair?
Yeah. Very frustrating week. Very frustrating week. More so because of the implications that it has. I think I can finally accept now that I'm not going to win FPL this year. Being 4.5 million, 11 games in, yeah, it's not going to happen, is it? So I guess it's time to play for fun and see where we get to over the next couple of weeks. But yeah, it was a strange game week. I hit a button of sorts, which obviously we'll go into at some point. Wasn't quite the red button. But yeah, it probably had the same effect as when Drake hit his red button and it flopped. Much like, to be fair, you being in the middle is interesting for me. Like, it was one of the most jammy ways of you getting in there. But obviously you pick your team and you have your squad, so it was good that you had a solid bench and stuff that brought you through. But yeah, it was quite interesting it being so last minute that it was like, okay, yeah, you've won. Because remember when I contacted you, I was like, yeah, you know you've actually gone and done it because you kept reindeers on the bench. So yeah, is what it is.
Needed a bit of luck, but it was a terrible game week. I'm not gonna lie though, I don't.
No, but it's not even luck, you know. Like,
no, I mean in that way.
things.
But you know what it is. I believed reindeers was coming on, so sometimes
no,
they didn't need to. They don't need to bring. They didn't need to bring him on, but sometimes managers will bring people on even when they don't need to. So I just believed Pep would do it. So in that sense, it's a bit of luck. But as we've said previously, or Guffs has said it, in fact, when the one game week he won, when you get someone off your bench, you pick that squad. So rightfully so. You right there, Guffs? Oh, you just laughed. You liked that one, did you? All right, cool. But yeah, I don't really like when man saying playing for fun though. You know, like it's very. I know we're like just over 10 games in, but if it was me, I'm still looking at I'm gonna break into the higher spots, and I won't give up to the end. That's just the way I am. And I'm not saying you're giving up, but playing
giving up.
I know, but playing for fun, like I personally wouldn't be having that. I look at it as this is our first season doing this, and I'm here to let people know. See where I am in the league. I'm not happy whatsoever, but like my shirt, I'm red right now. Do you get me? I'm just hungry to keep it going, and that's how I'm looking at it. I'm in danger mode. I'm just trying to do what I can, and I'm livid. But I'll get into that when we talk about our teams, because I went against what I usually do, so I'm pissed about that. But look,
my fun and your fun is different, so it shall be fun from here on.
Fair enough. Cool. Well, the league between us has been discussed already. Look, Guffs, I know you did your Guffs on the ground recently. You came back to the East End. For those that don't know, he's from the East End. He came back home, so to speak. How did that go?
Yeah, it was a really good day actually. Went to the Hammers. West Ham. First time going to a game down there. I've been there. I was there during the Olympics, but it was obviously the first time being down there on game day. And yeah, some real characters down at West Ham, I've got to say. For what I sort of say, a few people that I have spoken to during the game. Apologies. Some of you didn't quite get onto the footage for various reasons, which, were out of my control. But nevertheless, it was really fun sort of speaking to West Ham fans, and there's also a concert of ABBA going down there, so it's a very lovely atmosphere. But yeah, it's going well. I'm really enjoying sort of doing
ABBA up your street, is it?
Not at all, man. Not at all. It's not my thing. Okay. But
Are you sure you weren't being selective again? These people that didn't make it on. You know you've got this pretty privilege thing going on, and you don't let certain people on.
Listen, I'm open. I'm a man of the people. Do you know what I mean? I'll say it for a third time. I'm Mr. Humble, a man of people.
You wasn't
And
Mr. Humble
if you
when
do
this
see-
podcast started, just to make it clear. But you
No,
seem
I've
much
always been
more humble
humble.
now.
I've always been humble. Same energy.
Okay.
But back to the game. It was interesting to speak to the fans of West Ham, and I'm really enjoying it. And if you do see me at your ground in the next sort of weeks and months, come find me, come talk to me. I want to hear your views. I want to hear your predictions and your thoughts on FPL.
I like what I've been seeing, and yeah, let's
I'm
move
sure the
on.
Newcastle fans didn't take it personal that you don't like them.
Well, they didn't
Because
say.
got proof now that he does.
Oh, yes. Have you? Oh, you brought.
Well, funny enough, I'm going to go into Newcastle in a few weeks' time. Actually,
Yeah. When you go, you should take that clip of you telling them.
Can express their views to me, one on one, and see what they say. But
Is that what's happening?
You don't want that. They might give you a Glasgow kiss, mate. You need to chill out.
Listen, actually.
Maybe is that what's happening when you're cutting some of the footage you get? Is it when you're getting hotted by the fans and that?
Never done.
All right, look. I just thought I'd ask you about that Guffs because I saw it. I see it released. But yeah, let's get into our teams. Starting a few Guffs. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, obviously, this was a horrible game week, as you already, as I already alluded to. Yeah, what do you want to say?
Also,
really?
be clear that it's a horrible game week on average for most people. Like, it wasn't a high-scoring week at all.
Definitely.
No, I mean, when I talk about horrible game week, I always look at the average. I always look at sort of like where everyone else is compared to me, and I'm below average for the last 4 or 5 game weeks. So, although I agree with you that everyone had a bad week, when I look across sort of other teams, I'm not hitting the 40s and 50s that the average are making. So, look, thankfully Richards came through for me. He was the savior really for me this game week, getting me 8 points. Without him, it would have been complete crisis mode. But yeah, I went double Arsenal on the back. That flopped. Obviously, you can see the 2 goals, which is a huge surprise to us all, I'm sure. I was a bit surprised because Rodgers, I thought, got an assist. So I was surprised to only see him have 2 points. So I'm not quite sure why that happened. But I'm pretty sure he set up Onana's goal. But whatever. I mean, for some reason, they only gave me 2 points.
I thought it might have been a slight deflection, but when I looked in the replay, I couldn't quite work it out. And then I just didn't care because I didn't have him. But you could be a bit unlucky there. Yeah. But I don't think it would have made much of a difference.
So that was anyway. Yeah, I mean, look, it'd have been extra, 2 or 3 points potentially. Maybe I might got a bonus point, but in the grand scheme of things, it wasn't going to save my game week, was it? But Ekatike has been a complete and utter flop. He's done nothing at all for me since coming to my team. In fact, he's been benched every game. Hasn't got no goals, no assists.
That's interesting. Sorry to interrupt you, but that's very interesting because remember when we was talking about Liverpool assets and you wasn't rating them, and then all of a sudden you put Ekatike in your team that same week that you wasn't rating.
Well, you know what? It's funny. I'm glad you mentioned that because we had a conversation about assets, like you said, and I mentioned Gakpo, and I mentioned the fact that he possibly will get rotated in games, and we had this whole debate about the left-hand side, and funnily enough, he was benched and Wirtz was on the left. So I mean,
yeah, but
I was correct in my analysis in terms of Liverpool switching things around.
Was forward assets, not just Netpo.
As you said,
you said, why would you take any forward Liverpool asset? It wasn't just about Netpo. Yes,
no.
About him.
The question I said, Liverpool assets. What assets would you take from Liverpool forward assets? I asked that question to the group.
Let's not do this. It's there. The receipts are there. Like you said, why would you take any forward Liverpool assets? Would anybody take any forward Liverpool asset? Liverpool forward.
I asked you a question and you said Gakpo as an answer, right? And I went Gakpo. I mean, yeah, I already. Yeah. Well, you asked the question. I asked the question.
That was when you asked the question. Yeah. You asked me, would I take any? And I said, yeah. You asked the question.
So I'm relating to that. So I'm talking about that point specifically about Gakpo, right?
But I think
And
the
fact
point
that-
is what you
That
said was
2 to
that
3
you.
game weeks later, he was dropped. So you think he was right?
I mean, look, there's 2 points being made here. The first point on Ekatike, the reason why I brought him in was because Isak was injured. So I saw an opportunity because they had no other strikers. Obviously, they got Chiesa, but obviously, really, he's more a sideman. And I thought, hey,
Look, it was a good effort.
get him in
It
now.
didn't work.
You know, I thought it was one of those situations I was battling to try to catch up. I thought, get him in while he's injured.
Sunning people. It's
You know?
good effort.
No, but I don't mean it in a sunning way. I actually thought that when he did it, even though he said, he would stay away from Liverpool assets, when Isak got injured, I thought, but I just didn't fancy Ekatike. And obviously he did.
Well, clearly, it's not worked, right? He's been an absolute flop, failure. And I've now got this sort of fairly pricey asset in my team who's burned a hole in my bank account and he needs to go. So that's going to be one of my big changes that I'm going to make in the next sort of game week or two.
That's
But look,
more interesting that he hasn't worked out, unfortunately for you and your team, but it's more interesting because of all the PR that is around him, where everybody and his friend makes out like he's the next thing since sliced bread, like me, the Henry and all of these kinds of things. And to be fair, like, I'm not the Avenger for Gyökeres. That's Hotz's role. But to be fair to Gyökeres, he's done more than him. But the whole world and his friend behave as though Ekatike is like the one. So it is interesting to see because he also struggles against teams that have a stronger defense and so on. But obviously that doesn't help for what you're trying to achieve as it stands at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I'm trying to get gains. I'm trying to sort of break the template and steal a march on certain players to try and catch up, right? And he was one that took a chance on, didn't work out, and it is what it is.
I wasn't mocking. I actually thought it was. What I would say is this though.
But
go on.
No. I mean, that's all I've got to say.
Yeah.
Really,
so what I was going to say is that I know it's the international break, and you mentioned Ekatike, but is he? Are you keeping an eye on is he potentially out of your team in this international break, or what's your plans, or are you waiting? What's the deal with you?
Yeah, he's out of my team 100%. I mean, Isak's basically fit now, or going to be fit by next game week. So there's no reason to keep in my team when he's going to be sort of rotated now with Isak. He's not cheap as well, and also I'm changing my formation as well. So I'm going to go for 2 up front. So I'm going to basically down tools on Isak to a much cheaper striker and then pump it into my defense and go a bit more defense first. So that's kind of my my strategy for the next game week. I'm not entirely sure which defender I'm going to bring in. Ideally, I would like to bring in Gabriel, but obviously I have Eze in my team, so I can't have 4 Arsenal players. That's a bit more complicated. So I'm thinking about what defender to bring in to kind of boost my defense. I might go and bring another Palace defender in, so I have 2 Arsenal, two Palace at the back. Maybe bring in an Everton defender. I'm not quite sure yet, but I'm going to try and change things up before next game week for sure.
Okay. Well, we've got the international break, I guess, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
What about you, Ark? Let's get to your team.
So I hit the free hit button this week, which had interesting effects with the different things that happened. So relatively my midfield brought back some returns. So just to run through the team, I had Sells in goal. I started Geoff, started James, started Calafiori, and they got me a grand total of 3. Started Marino, Enzo, Mbuma, Semenyo I carried on with, and Paqueta. So the idea was I wanted to play more in midfield to see whether I could bump it up. To be fair, most in my midfield returned something of some sort. Haaland did what Haaland does, and Pedro got me a goal as well. But I really didn't do well with my back line. The reason that's more unfortunate than normal is because I had 15 points sitting on my bench through Keane. Munoz got 6 as well, so I just picked the wrong set to play. There was a logic behind things with me when I did it. However, the reality is I still picked the wrong thing and got my just rewards for it. I finished off obviously 1 point below where I needed to be for us to even have drawn. But obviously after the international break, we reset and I had my free transfers back, and we'll see where we go to from there. When I've looked at the team in relation to if I had held firm and just tried to ride it out for another week, so that I had 4 transfers after the international break, in reality, the team that I had would have finished up 27 points less than what I got here. So I would have had a horrendous week.
Yeah,
Wow.
So
it
from
worked out
that,
in the end then.
yeah, from that perspective, it worked out in terms of the net points that I had. But it's still nothing to write home about. The reality is that the free hit chip, it still get me. The free hit chip, it still got me average, whereas I wouldn't have got average if I hadn't used it. So there's a silver lining, but it could have been a lot better.
This one to the viewers, yeah. I believe that the chips in the first half of the season, like I've said many times, are not as important as the chips in the second half of the season. So if you use a free hit or bench boost or whatever, and in this occasion it's saved you or it's made you get 27 points more than you would have, that's a good chip as far as I'm concerned. And that's why I say these chips in the first half of the season, you know, it's just does it work? Counts on what would have happened if we didn't do it. So I think that's actually good now. I know that, but I didn't know that obviously until now. But sorry, Guffs, because I was trying to let you finish.
It's good with context. It is good with context, but it's also frustrating. As you guys have seen over the past couple of weeks, my bench has never performed. The 1 week that I need team to perform rather than the bench is outperforming people that I've got in the team. So it's
I hear you.
Yeah.
But imagine if you did your free hit another time and you got certain things right and it's a higher scoring game week and you might not make 27 points more than your original team. To do that, I think it's like you've escaped. But I guess it's your team, so you'd have your view on it, and I can't really say much.
Yeah.
I mean, I got to be honest. I was slightly surprised you played it this week. I know you mentioned you were going to play it last episode, but I was slightly surprised you played this week. I didn't. In my opinion, I mean, like you said, you got 27 points more, so I guess it all worked out in that respect. But it was a kind of a funny game week. I felt this game week. There wasn't like, you know, usually when I think about playing the chip, particularly free hit, I would want to play it on a week where there's like really good games where, like, you know, City are at home to Wolves. We can load up on City players, and there's also Liverpool playing someone easy as well. This game week was always a bit tricky, and also I have to be honest, like I was a bit surprised in the team you put out. Like obviously, I know Diop is quite good going forward, but West Ham haven't been great at the back, and you know Palace have been. So I was surprised you benched Muniz as well. Like there was just like some things that obviously it's very easy to say things in retrospect, right?
Yes,
it could have worked out. You could have got something from.
So the logic with Geoff is that there is upside with him from an attacking point of view, and we also know that Burnley, they average at least 2 XGA against them, like when they're away from home. So that was the logic behind it. Obviously, things didn't necessarily pan out. The issue is that it's difficult to play the fixtures now anyway, because even with a fixture where you think you're playing a team that, okay, they're in the mud or whatever not, they're still scoring goals, etc. So it's, for me, the free hit usually I only ever use when I've got injuries. So this one was more strategic thing for ensuring that I could get some upside this week and then still have X amount of transfers with which I can change around. So for instance, my biggest regret for this week was that I was looking at Semenyo and thinking I'm going to take him out for Gibbs White, and I didn't. And I was toying around with that decision literally right until the last moment. I didn't do it, and then obviously Gibbs White scored, which would have got me the win. But you know, it kind of is what it is. There are certain frustrations that I have within the team as well. Like Enzo's got really good at underlying numbers, but ever since I've had him, he's done nothing. He hasn't brought anything in. As you can see, I tried to be cute with a couple of the transfers that I brought in, i.e. Marino. We knew he was going to play up front. Paqueta, like he's on pens. He's starting to come into some relative form. My biggest gamble, or what I felt was my biggest gamble at the time, was Pedro. Because I think even the game that he had prior to this, during the week, he had no shots again. He's definitely not going to be somebody that I bring into my team permanently. However, the team that I created, it does have an indication of some of the moves that I want to make in over the next coming weeks. I've spoken of on my own watch list. I've got Keane there. So I was testing him out. I just didn't think that they would keep a clean sheet against Fulham. I was wrong. And for me, I suppose it's just an extension of how FPL has felt for the year. FPL's felt like I'm playing at Aka all the time. And Akas are generally not, like, it's great if you win, but most times you won't. That's why they're an Aka with loads of fixtures on them. And that's how FPL has felt this year for me so far. But I'm still holding in. I'm still looking at the fact that the people that I can see above me have still used relatively more chips than I have. And the chips they have used are ones that I would have expected them to gain upside from anyway. So it's now whether I'm able to target the fixtures well enough to make sure that upside reaches me also. But that's enough babbling from me. I'm sure you've heard my monotone voice for long enough. Back to you, Hots.
Okay. So yeah, for myself, very pissed off, if I'm honest. Hosting was just one thing I could take as a consolation, but I'll start with. So Gyökeres, as I said in the last episode, got taken out that same Saturday. He got injured. I didn't know if he'd be out. I didn't care. He was gone. After waiting for Burnley and Sunderland, and the man plays 45 minutes, he was a goner. And then after weeks of Arsenal clean sheets and me wanting Gabriel in, because he was gone, I decided to put Gabriel in, as you can see. So my back line was Burn, Gabriel. I got Senesi and Makelele from my bench, which, 5 between them wasn't the greatest. And obviously Ray and Gabriel didn't get the clean sheet as soon as I have 2 at the back. But my worst thing was I was debating after going Gyökeres captain over Haaland. I had Saka captain all week. And then I went against my own decision when I was umming and ahhing after last week when Haaland did it. I know Haaland's going to score past Liverpool. Got to like 29 minutes past with 1 minute to go, and I thought, I don't want another thing like last week, so I'm going to switch it over to Haaland just to be safe. And then Saka goes and outscores Haaland. That made me pissed, I can't lie. So I was fuming. Semenyo goes and misses a penalty. Burn goes and gets a red card. 2 of my players didn't play, who was on the bench. Kudos didn't play. Gay didn't play. I just felt like bare things went against me. But if I'd kept Saka captain, it would have given me a little bit of a boost. So I would have taken that. But Haaland was my captain. He got a goal, even though he got no bonuses. Mateta did nothing. Who was who I put in for Gyökeres again. And Pedro got another goal. After me saying that Pedro would score in the last game, and he's now gone and got 2 after not being able to have a shot on target for a few games, or even have a shot. I learned something new, which is surprising to me because I thought I knew everything about FPL. And that pissed me off too, even though it's not really, it might not be seen as a big deal to anyone. Because I didn't know about it, it pissed me off. And that was that Burn got a red card, which means he got a -3. If you get a -3, you're sent off. You had conceded 1 goal before being sent off. They scored a penalty when you're off the field, and that means you concede 2 goals and take a -1 for conceding 2. But how the hell can you concede 2 if you're not on the pitch? So as much as it may be an FPL rule, I want FPL, if they ever see this, or, well, I've not sent no messages, but that rule does not make sense to me. And that 1 point could have been the difference between me hosting this week or not. But luckily for me, it wasn't. But it's not about just that part of it. It's logically, if a defender plays 59 minutes and doesn't make 60, and then there's a clean sheet on 60 minutes, he doesn't get the clean sheet, and it's because he wasn't there, so it's not part of the team. But when you get a red card, you're still part of the team. I just don't think that makes sense. It's the rules, and I'll roll with it, and I'm sure it's happened to other people like I've heard, but I just think it's a very, very stupid rule, and the FPL should consider fixing that rule, because if you're off the field, if your team go and concede 3 because you've got red carded, you've already got red card, which is a -3, so why are you giving me minuses for when you're not there? But anyway, let me move on from that.
That sending off helps to the team being at a disadvantage.
Yeah, but he's not there. So if you play 59 minutes,
that's the disadvantage that he's
but
created.
but he's not
You're
there.
talking about 2 different instances.
No, but I'm saying if you're there, you're there.
Like,
so if you play 59 minutes, you're there.
I see your point. I see your
what
point.
you're saying, but
I see Ark's point too.
A substitute is somebody else comes in for that person. Like with somebody being sent off, they've disadvantaged the team.
Yeah, but they're not there. So whether you disadvantage the team or not, I'm just saying my view on it. So this was me talking about my team and my view. So I'm just saying, me personally, I do not think that makes sense. If you two do, then that's cool for you. I don't. If you play 59 minutes and you come off, and your team, as a team effort, you come off because you didn't play 60, and then on 60 minutes, everyone gets a clean sheet, but you don't. You didn't play, so I get it. So if your player then gets sent off, and you've only conceded 1, and he's off the pitch, if the goalkeeper saves it, he's still off the pitch. If the goalkeeper concedes, he's not there, so I don't believe he should get the minus. Even if he's at fault for getting a red card, he's not on the pitch. So that's not consistent for me. And I will say that no matter what anyone says, I just don't agree with it. Even if it's not me that's got the player in. It's just on this occasion, I found out about that rule because I had the player in. But I think it makes no sense. Just because he gets the red card, he gets a -3. So why is he getting more when he's off the field? It makes no sense. But anyway, let's not drag on about my team. It's already pissed me off. And Burn's now suspended.
I understand where you're coming from, but he's penalised his team.
And he's been punished -3. And he's been punished with a -3. That's what you get when you get a red card.
Look at another way. Imagine you had another Newcastle defender in your team who's now playing for half an hour with 10 men, and is now and Liverpool then can concede 3 goals because they've got 10 men.
Yeah, he'll get a -1 if he's on the
part. That would be a real.
Okay, so what happens when you have okay, cool. You ask that. Let me ask you this: what happens if you've got 2 defenders from a team that got a clean sheet this week? One of them comes up on 59 minutes, so one of them doesn't finish the 60 minutes required, and one of them does. One gets a clean sheet, one doesn't because he's not there.
But it's not the same thing though.
But he's not there. So it is the same thing.
But being subbed, being subbed and being recorded ain't the same.
But you're not there.
I see your point.
That's the point. You're not there. So if you're not there, you're not there. That's what my argument is. You're not there. So if you're not there, you shouldn't get the minuses, because if they say if you get -3 for getting a red card and then you're not there, I don't think you should get it. And nothing you both say is going to change my view on that. So.
I'm not trying to change it.
Okay.
I'm not trying to change it.
Okay, cool.
I'm just simply giving my opinion on countering your point and saying that
that's fine.
Although I understand.
Okay, let me ask you 2 questions then. If you're doing the rules now, do you keep it as it is or do you change it? Yes or no? Let's just leave it there. I change it. What do you do, Guff? Starting with you.
Doesn't bother me.
Okay, cool.
I understand.
Okay, it doesn't bother you. So what would you do? Change it? Yes or no? That's what I want to know. I don't care if it bothers you. Yes or no? Change or keep? That's because we ain't got time to waste on this. Because I'm going to be on my team forever then. So would you change it? Yes or no?
I'll probably keep it. I don't see the problem.
Cool. Ark, what would you do? Would you keep the rule or would you change it?
I'd keep it.
Cool. So that's 2 people that would keep it. Me personally, even if it's not on my team, I think if you get a red card and you're off the pitch, you're no longer part of that team, so you shouldn't concede the goals that they are conceding because you're not there. So if anyone wants to add their comments on this show, they can do it. And if everyone's against me and everyone thinks you keep the rule, good for you. But I'm still saying that rule is dead. Okay? Moving on. My future plans at the moment is this dickhead Burn who's got a red card. Kudos who's injured. Gay, who I don't even know what's happened to him. Like Enzo, I put in and he's just messing about. I put him in, he's done nothing for me. But I don't know. I want to go mad, innit? But you lot are just frustrating me thinking about the Burn thing because he's probably the first gone from my team. But really,
You're frustrating yourself, brother.
yeah, no, but I'm saying he should be gone from my team really because he's just suspended for no reason. But to be fair, he wasn't going to play against City next week for me. But yeah, listen, it's an international break, so as you guys know, international hots, I'm out of here. So I'm not even going to do no changes early like I've been doing over the last few weeks. I'm just going to wait last minute, let players go up, let players drop, see who gets injured and make my decisions there. But like, anyway, that's enough about my team. Mr. Statman, what you saying?
Permission to speak?
Well, yeah. Once the host gives you that permission, you can take over.
Fair play. well, to be fair, as you quite rightly say, it's international break, and for me, I'm reflecting on a couple of things, and it's generally where patience and panic meet each other, right? So we kind of hit this point every season where form starts feeling fragile, fixtures start flipping all over the place, and managers are all asking the same thing, right? Do I hold my chips or do I play them before they drop? That kind of thing. So like the teams, managers, we've also got the same thing where we've got fixture cliffs that we've got to try and work out. See whether holding on to things are going to be like just good intentions that work against us, that kind of thing. So this week, what are we doing is addressing that effectively. What's good chip timing and when are we expecting to see fixture cliffs? So knowing when to press the button to go and when to pause. Obviously, I pressed the button. In reality, with context, it was the right thing to do. But to Guff's point earlier, there was a logic around it to say, well, actually, no, pause and wait until, say, game week 13 or 14. I think in 13, that's when City are playing Wolves and so on and so forth. So that will be where I'm residing this week in the segment. Be out on Thursday as ever. And again, if you've got any questions whatsoever, hit me up on whichever platform. I'd be more than happy to answer any of your questions.
Cool. Guffs, on a quick one. Guffs on the ground. Are you out in the international week or not? Just on a quick one, just wondering.
Yeah, I'm going to be heading down to Wembley.
Okay.
So, yeah, I mean, it's not strictly FPL territory.
Football's
but I'm
football.
sure there's some,
And there's going to
exactly.
be FPL
I'm sure
players
there's-
there, definitely. You know that.
100%. And I thought it'd be an opportunity to speak to some England fans, and England are going to be in celebratory fashion, given that they've already qualified for the World Cup. So should be good vibes down there. So looking forward to going and speaking to the England fans. And I think they're playing against Serbia, I believe. I think it's Serbia or Montenegro. I can't remember. Forgive me, but either way, be nice to sort of speak to some fans from one of those countries, and getting your views on FPL and things football related as well. I mean, it's an FPL podcast, we know that, but I mean, if you want to have a little chit chat about football in general, then I'm here to talk.
I think everyone that plays FPL loves football and is interested in football. That's why they end up playing this game. So it's a standard. Just before we move to the next step, I do want to touch on the big games. Before we touch on the big games, though, I want to touch on the ones from last week very quickly. Obviously, the main game last week, we didn't really speak about it. So let's just quickly touch on it now. Obviously, City versus Liverpool. Man City smoked Liverpool. There were some decisions in the game that some people question. So running through it as quick as we can. What's your view, guys?
Look, I think you touched on it. Really, there was a couple of key talking points in the game. The penalty was one of them, which was touch and go for me, but it was saved, so it's null and void. Obviously, there was a header from Van Dijk, which was disallowed, which I thought was unlucky. I thought it should have been a goal. But in reality, I don't think it really would have made a difference. I think City were by far the better team. I mean, I said before the game, 3-2. I said before the game, 3-2 City. I thought City would score goals. I did think there'd be goals in the game. But in reality, they were all over Liverpool. And I think that, we've spoken about Liverpool quite a bit on this podcast already in terms of sort of their issues they've had this season. But, I think they needed the transfer window quick. They need some reinforcements, from my opinion. And then I think if they can get to January keeping the gap as it is, I think they'll be lucky, quite frankly, because I think they're struggling to keep the ball in the net, struggling to find any fluency.
Wow.
I think that the shape of the team isn't quite right. And from an Arsenal fan point, I'm glad to see that. But from Man City and an Arsenal perspective for the title running, I think keep stacking those points and keep growing that gap, because I can still see Liverpool conceding more points going forward. But the game was a good game. It was cagey for the first maybe 10 minutes. City kind of started slow, was passing the ball around, but they were always in control. And Haaland is inevitable, right? You just knew he's going to score. He missed a penalty, but he never shook. He's kept going and got his goal. So
I thought that was a dead pen.
Interesting game, and
I thought it was a dead pen.
Yeah.
Didn't put the power and conviction behind it.
But City are the threat. They're the threat, and I did say last week that they are the team that you have to be slightly concerned with, because they have the potential. If they can get all their guys going, they can be that team, right? I mean, they have got a former Ballon d'Or winner. They have got the best manager in the world. They have got Haaland, best striker in the world. They've got players in their ranks which, if they can get them clicking, they're capable of stringing long wins together. So, we'll see. We'll see how it all pans out. I still think they've got big flaws in their team. I think it's been blown out of proportion, this whole thing. Like, City are back. I think
say all of that and then say they've got flaws.
Well, they have got flaws. They played really well on the day, right? And I think they're dangerous, but I don't think they're at the level that they were 3 years ago. But I think they, I guess it really depends on what Arsenal do, right? If Arsenal can maintain this level, then I think we'll be fine. But if we drop off, the City have the potential to potentially come back into it. But we'll see.
Arc, like, not in a funny way, but I don't want to make this go on too long. So back to City, just a game. City and Liverpool. What was your view?
From my point of view, I think that it was exactly what I thought it would be. Liverpool a bit all over the place. They lack a bit of control, so there's no defensive consistency with them, and their structure is a bit unstable. I didn't think that City were that good. I thought that City were, as they have been for most of the season, they're quite efficient. But I didn't think they're that great. I think for Liverpool, the worry that they've got to have is that they got bullied by a midfield of Cherki and Foden. Like, that's a worry in itself. So Liverpool are back to the drawing board of them trying to rebuild some belief and shape into what they do to gain some value. And from a City point of view, I guess everybody now sees them as they're structurally back to what they need to be. Personally, as you know, I've said all throughout the season, City have only got Haaland and Doku. Outside of that, I don't see that they've got anything to be worried about. So to Guff's point, if we continue where we are, things will be okay. But things will get bumpy over the next 4 or 5 games because City's fixtures turn to be a bit more favourable. We've got harder fixtures. So I expect to see loads of crash-outs from people like Guffs and other Arsenal fans. And then things will return to their normal selves, to our baseline, and we'll see where we are come February.
Another game, and let's keep this one very short and sweet, but Spurs and United. Before I go to you two, I want to say that Richarlison is my donut of the week. I didn't watch the game. I had a busy weekend, but when I watched the highlights and I see a man rip off his shirt, celebrate like he scored a winning goal in the World Cup in a game week 11 of the league when you're nowhere near the top, take a yellow card or celebrating like you've done. And the goal wasn't a great goal either. It's not like he scored a worldie. It's any goal, in my opinion. The way he celebrated, I just thought that was foolish. And what made it even more foolish is that minutes later, the equaliser was scored. And now what? You took a top off in the blitz, in the rain. For what? Got a yellow card for what? So to me, I just look at him. I don't really like him as a player anyway. I've always think he thinks he's rough. He's a bit He's one of those players that he's got too much attitude, and you could see the way he carries himself. For me personally, I don't really like him, and I'll say I'm very honest. I'll just say how I feel. But then seeing him do that and celebrating like a fool, whipping his shirt off and giving it all just to get an equaliser a few minutes later, I just think he was a donut for that. So he's my donut of the week. In regards to the result, 2-2 worked in favour for me as an Arsenal fan. I was hoping for a draw in that game and a draw in City Liverpool, even though I thought Man City would do him. But yeah, apart from them getting the draw, I'm not concerned with Spurs or United. So have you two got anything to add on them two?
Look, I think last week we said that these are two very meaty teams, isn't it? And I didn't really have high hopes for a great contest, and I think that's how it really played out. I think the scoreline looks like it's a great game. In reality, it wasn't really a great game. There was moments. To your point on Richarlison, I get why he's done out a week. But Richarlison is that kind of player. He's quite kind of eccentric at times, to say. So, and it was a 91st minute. So, but yeah. But yeah, 2-2 I think was, I was happy to sort of see it being a draw.
Yeah,
from an FPL standpoint, I was a bit upset that Mbomo banged the game because he's not in my team, and I'm thinking, oh God, he's the kind of player I need in my team right now because he's obviously hit a bit of form. But yeah, not really a great to talk about. I think these are two teams that won't be in the top four. So,
But even if they had won that game and he had scored in the 91st minute and he had won that game, I just don't see why he's celebrating like he is the league winner. But anyway, Ark, anything to add on them two?
Nothing to add really. Richard is Richard. He's on the spectrum. He's not eccentric.
On the spectrum.
On the spectrum. And with regards to the team, I thought watching United, I think they're going to struggle more because Amorim is still in a strange place. He structurally, and some of the things that he does are just a bit wild. But they'll be fun to watch. As in, there's going to be some games where I'm sure they will score a hatful because they've got those kind of attackers. But yeah, we'll see. I always say, as you know, that finishing top four is not the hardest thing in the world in this league. So I think that they'll be within a shout. Like they'll challenge for it. I don't know whether they will do it. But
there's a lot of
they
teams
don't have
that will.
They've got one game a week. So
it gives them a chance. But
yeah.
All right, look.
Hey-ho.
Let's move on. The big game for the up and coming game week, which is obviously international break. Injuries could occur. Everything can change. But as it stands, Arsenal, Spurs, North London derby, the big one. That's the game of the game week ahead. I'm going to say it as simple as this. Forget the stats. I'll leave that for the stat man. Straight up, Arsenal have to win this game for me. It's important that we win this game at home and to keep momentum going and to bounce back from Sunderland. I haven't been impressed with Spurs, so I do not want to be in a situation when we're doing our next episode that we've lost the game. And if we have another draw in a row and City win, we're going to be in a difficult position. I understand football's football, it's a North London derby and everything else, but I just hope that, that Arsenal bounce back. The Arsenal players have been on social media disappointed, so I hope that we go and rip Spurs a new one. And that's all I'm going to say in this one. Over to one of you.
Where's your prediction?
Arsenal victory.
Okay.
If you want to score, 2-0.
Look, I think international break always is a bit of a funny one, right? Players come back, you don't know how they're going to be sort of fitness-wise. Obviously, Arsenal are the favourites. They're at home. We're better than Spurs. But, I always get a little bit worried about how we're going to come out of the international break in terms of the fitness of all the players. We should win. And I'm fully expecting us to win the game, but we have to be mindful that, if we look at the history of games after the international break, they're always a bit sketchy. Having said that, I think that I'm going to go for an Arsenal win, and I'm going to say 3-1 Arsenal.
Mark? The man that doesn't predict scores when it's Arsenal?
I don't predict scores for Arsenal, no. If you're looking at the game, I think if you look at head-to-head between us and them, we've won 29 of the last 63 meetings. I think as well, I think about 75% of the games have all had over 1.5 goals. But the issue that you have got is in recent years, like Tottenham has scored roughly 1.5 goals against us, and they've conceded less than 1 goal. So it'd be an interesting game. Frank obviously plays a lot more structured and tries to be compact at the moment. So historically, yes, we have the edge over them, and Tottenham don't tend to have very high scoring outings when they play against us, so they concede fewer. So I think it's going to be low scoring. Obviously, I'm hopeful for the Arsenal win, and we'll see how it is. If we have our players back, then I think we shouldn't have an issue. But let's see who comes back unscathed from the international break. But both teams, in reality, have got a lot of injuries. I think Tottenham have got about 10 injuries, and we've got 7 or 8.
I think defensively we're going to want to bounce back after conceding to, and I bloody hope so since I've gone 2 at the back now. But, you could see if it's not on camera, I'll put it on camera. It's my team, and I'm hoping no matter what the scoreline is, no matter what my players in my squad do for FPL, once we get the victory, that's all I care about. Onto the mini league. I will start like this. Gonna Win is off the top spot for the first time to my memory, with Peaky Blinders playing a blinder and getting himself into the top spot. 24 points. Jeez. Gonna Win. That's like what Arc may have got if he didn't hit that chip, that free hit. Posh 911. Posh 911 still there. In it to win it still there. J Lords. That name always triggers my MH. But yeah, you're up into 5th. As you can see on the right, a red arrow for Guffs, 2 green arrows for me and Arc, even though we might not be particularly happy.
But that's only in this league, right? It's overall everybody's
yes,
on a red arrow.
But it's in the Triple Captains League is what we're currently referring to. So just for anyone that didn't know that. But yeah, this is the top 5 in our league, and out of the Triple Captains, this is what we've done. That's on the right hand side. The bottom of the league, I see something that I've been speaking about over the last few weeks. And sorry to start here, that glim of hope that you had and got yourself out of that bottom 5. You've obviously dropped back with a low total of 34. But it's, from what I can see, you could be out of it next week if you refocus. 2 Peak is trying to, 2 Peak for who, is trying to climb out of that bottom 5. So, all power to you. And the bottom 3 hasn't changed. It's just the same bottom 3, so not much to talk about. Biggest points, 2 of you sharing it, 58 points. Low scoring game week, I suppose nearly 60. I usually say get more than 50 and I'm happy with that. So congratulations to you two. 58 in a low scoring game week. But yeah, look, I'm glad for the international break right now, if I'm honest. I've been really irritated with the recent game weeks. Really, really, really irritated. Yes, okay, I've got the bragging rights of hosting or getting the most points out of us. But it's not cutting it. Them league positions and the league positions I'm in across all my leagues, I'm known for bouncing back and fighting in the second half of the season, but this is not the start I wanted when I started this podcast. So this is why I was saying earlier that right now I'm seeing red and I'm just trying to climb back. And I think it will be good if we all climb back and close that gap, and it shows how much you can close a gap. Because some people will give hope and then stop playing or not care about their team. But I know us, we won't. And in me in particular, I'm going for blood. So like every week I want to. That's why I'm annoyed that I didn't captain Saka, because that difference of 8 points, every point counts at the moment when you're in big leagues with a lot of players. And even the 1 point for Burn conceding those goals. But it is what it is. The rules are for everyone, so I can't complain about them. But after this international break, I really, really, really want to start making some progress now and climb up that league table. Look, we've come to the end. As always, we're going to have to start with saying thank you to the viewers, whoever's been viewing, whoever's been supporting, whoever's, continuously watching us. If you're a watcher that hasn't subscribed, haven't got notifications on, please do both things. Your support is appreciated, and all support, let your people know. You'll see week by week we're improving, and now we need to improve our position in the league. If you're above us, we're coming for you, or at least I'm coming for you if I'll speak for myself. And if you're below us, catch us if you can. It's an international break. I already said I'm off, I'm out of here. International Hots is out of here. Guffs will be at Wembley. The stat man will be doing his stat thing. If you guys got anything to add, go ahead. If not, see you at the next episode.
Truth be told, when I wonder what the future holds,